Trust between restaurants and third-party delivery companies is at an all-time low. We all know about the ridiculous fees restaurants are paying and the drivers' lack of speed and accuracy in getting their food to guests. But now there are cases popping up where delivery companies aren't paying their restaurants. In one case, upwards of $400,000 is owed to local businesses. Some of those restaurants won't see payment ever and are forced to take legal action. This begs the question, should third-party delivery companies be able to collect payment on behalf of restaurants and pay them back at a time of their choosing? Do restaurants even have a choice? Welcome to the Restaurant Growth Show podcast. We'll talk about that plus a whole lot more. This is episode 3. Hey, it's Gordon, and this is the Restaurant Growth Show podcast where we talk about how restaurants can use technology to boost their sales. We've got a lot to talk about in this episode, but first, let's introduce our guest. Jose Albas, co-founder and chief growth officer at Moduurn with more than 25 years of online marketing experience. Jose has successfully founded and operated companies in software and hospitality. Jose's passion is to continue to build technology to help restaurateurs grow their businesses. Next, we have, myself. I'm your host. My name is Gordon. I am the resident digital marketer at Moduurn. I specialize in demand generation, paid advertising, organic search, and email marketing strategy for restaurants. I run a digital marketing program called 90 Days to Success at Moduurn, where I teach, you guessed it, restaurateurs how to sell their food online through digital marketing. Jose, let's jump right in here because this is a real problem for restaurants. I'm going to start off with a question for you. What risks do operators take when they sign with a third-party delivery company? Like, how does the payment structure work? What are the risks involved?
It's a question that has a lot of history, and I say that because the industry itself has evolved, and the online ordering has evolved around third-party marketplaces, which in a way has been great for other modalities of online ordering because they paved the way, they educated in a way, but at the same time, it has come with pain for restaurateurs mainly, followed by the users, which is what the third marketplace wants to take the most care about, and even the drivers. We've seen throughout the history of it that in the beginning, one of the main issues has been still happens, but it was about the availability of the drivers is one. When a market opens up, then and I can confess that when the marketplace, the main Canadian marketplace, came to our area, to the island, in the very, very beginning, when they were looking for drivers, and I actually tested to be a driver because one, it was incredible the amount of requests, also because I wanted to learn what the hell they were doing, and it was, I was building a Moduurn at the time, so I jumped in. I had a lot of fun. I thought it was a lot of fun to be delivering food to people.
How much money were you making a week?
I couldn't tell you the week, but I could tell you that usually I would put a window of like 4 hours, okay, and I would be working during those 4 hours. Usually, they would throw money so that I would do it during the peak hours, and I would jump with my girlfriend and drive around doing this, and just having fun and learning about how the system worked, and asking restaurateurs questions and about how others would do. So I would see a whole bunch of different situations where I would see people that would make mistakes. So I would come, for example, and I was picking it up, and then so they would get to know me because it was only a few of us. So they'd be like, hey, how's it going? And stuff. And like, and oh my God, that kid that just left. Like, he just doesn't, he's lost, he came late. And I would ask them questions. I would be like, so what happens next? And it's like, oh, I'm gonna get penalized, and down, and this is great, but it's so painful. And I'm like, okay, perfect. So I would ask him and interact with all these people. So but then I would hear stories from the restaurateurs, very frustrated with a lot of the drivers that were either lost, they don't know how to park, they were late, they were and then somehow it was always what it seemed to me like it was a race around the clock, and whoever, because drivers are also responsible and get penalized in a way. One is like if you're very efficient, then you get more orders right away, one after the other.
Right.
Probably that's different now that there's a lot of drivers out there. But back in the day, it was like to the point that I the dispatcher, every now and then that something happened, I would call and I would already know they would rotate quite a bit, but that they would have their preferences. Let's put it that way, and they could actually then choose like a really good order, a really big order, a complicated kind. Like this is before the review systems from the user's point of view. Imagine this is a long time ago. So so it was quite interesting to learn that, but most important to me it was to listen to what the restaurateurs had to say. Um, a little bit right after, so that's one of the ecosystem itself has ways of rewarding and penalizing anybody in the ecosystem, but usually it comes to the restaurateur's responsibility, because if they forget something, then the company has to compensate, but they get penalized for it.
Right.
And at the end of the day, what they care the most is about the restaurateur, pardon me, the end user that placed the order. Makes sense. That's what the game is about. Having a lot of people in their app. That's why they are so attractive to restaurants and to users as well. I mean, to users because of the convenience. But the value of these companies is that they have a lot of users available to place orders. So then then after that, the drivers, because they are also part of the ecosystem for their convenience, for the convenience of the company, and then third, the restaurateurs. Unfortunately, that's a reality, and it just makes sense that the model is like that. So when we see that it's a model that, like in any business and in any market, when you're first to market, you get a huge advantage. So all these big, them now are huge companies, grew up really, really, really fast. Then we saw that the market has started to mature. Smaller local delivery companies started to pop up, and but as you can imagine, I've seen multiple models trying to do it, models that were trying to move the funds in real time, where the restaurateur with some benefit to the restaurant, more benefits to the restaurant, so it was more like restaurant centric, that have failed. Some that were more around driver centric, difficult, little growth. And
Okay,
so
let me let me interject here because that raises you know a few questions for me. So when you say there were different models that you know smaller third party delivery companies were experimenting with, and then you mentioned transferring the money right away. Why do you
or
think
faster,
what or faster? Why do you think that model failed, or did it fail?
Well, because your planning for growth is critical in this. So if you're planning from even if you just say do it as any other of the big ones, like it's a week, they have to process the penalties, the rewards, the users, the drivers, right? And so you need to have the most amount of cash flow in your hands to make sure that it's viable. So that operation of having this cash flow in your hands to make it viable for everybody in the ecosystem is not an easy task. So it's not an easy business, as much as it may look like, oh my god, the margins are huge, and you know it's very needed and stuff like that. So some of the situations I've heard about local companies, if you notice, have come out of after the pandemic. So
Mhm.
whoever, and this happened to Shopify even, they had immense growth. They hired a lot of people. They had to lay off a lot of people. So growth planning is very critical in all of this. And to follow a model that is successful for others doesn't mean that you necessarily, just because of the definition of it, that you follow the same path, it's gonna work for you. So when So I wouldn't be surprised that there's others that are in a tough situation after the pandemic, after growth and projections that actually didn't fulfill at the end, or that it changed, that are maybe hanging on a situation like what we've heard about some local companies.
So, for restaurateurs out there who are looking to reduce those fees and not go with big delivery, right?
Mm.
Uber, Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, the big three there, and they end up signing with a smaller third party, maybe a local software company that has decided that they're going to invest in a fleet. Is there some sort of protection? Is there some sort of solution there that's going to protect the restaurateur from getting burned like we've seen here in the news?
So if we go back to what I was explaining about the ecosystem that has three main actors here, where is the user, the restaurant, and the drivers.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere, and then the third, the marketplace that is operating all of these, they're managing the cash for third parties of that are in a very complex operation, and that I need to hire drivers, I need to enroll restaurants, I need to pay these drivers, charge the restaurant, and fulfill a really good service for users. So I'm in a way taking the responsibility and taking the risk for all of this money be moved around. Therefore, I charge in advance, I have all of the money, and then I distribute accordingly, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be able to have that growth and operate and carrying so much risk, it just makes sense that yes, you have to make sure that you have cash at all times, and in a way that you can actually distribute. Distributing all this money, as much as there's technology and stuff, it's not that easy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hard to make it automatic, so to speak, or in real time. There are too many factors happening there. There are too many people that can complain in the ecosystem. There's too many things that can fail. So it's the only way that it just makes sense. It's the nature of the beast.
It's okay. So essentially, what you're saying is it's mitigating risk for the third party delivery company taking on that risk. A single restaurant taking on that risk is much less of a risk as opposed to the delivery company who would be risking dozens, if not hundreds, of restaurants. I
Huge
think
multiplying effect.
right. Okay. So I think I'm beginning to grasp that. It really irks me when restaurants and small businesses are getting fisted like that.
And the market has not stopped evolving, and that with any new offering, there is a promise to mitigating any of these pain points that are in the ecosystem. One, that it's first the direct online ordering, the white label like Moduurn, the type of solutions with efficiencies and tools and things that can help mitigate the risk for the restaurants, caring more about the restaurant first than anything, and through them their customers, their guests, so that they have a good experience and that they can serve them and blow their mind away, but that they focus on making food. That's what they want. That's what they
Mm-hmm.
want to do. They want to
Mm-hmm.
see those smiles in the guest's face when they're satisfied. That's what it's all about. I having done that experience, I can understand. I really empathize with the restaurateur and the beauty of an art of serving people. It's a beautiful thing. So when the market mitigates that with solutions like Moduurn, like online direct online, um, we that created other opportunities that open new opportunities, and some of the third party identified them, like what if our drivers came through the back door of the brand, and because there is no the restaurant is doing its own marketing, we found a model that helps to mitigate the excess of drivers that we may have, so that the drivers are also not that unhappy that there's not enough business if they book a time to work. Totally different than when I was testing it, and at the same time, give their operation still a good return investment by offering services like DoorDash Drive, Uber Direct, Skip Go, and all these white label delivery services through the back door. and behind the brand of the owner or the restaurant that is actually doing the effort, the marketing effort that brings people to order directly from them. But then the drivers and the dashers and everybody, that part of the ecosystem mitigates. Like, it's not only dependent on the marketplace, which is the one that they put so much marketing and that they want return investment for, right? The marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
So then when that happens, it is a huge opportunity because it gives the restaurant an amazing opportunity to mitigate the risk between their effort that they make, the charges that they get. The 20-30% drops down to sometimes under 10% if you play it really well, and you manage you're still in control of your menu with much more ease, and you can do anything that your own online system can do, like coupons and rewards and loyalty, whatever you can do, and all those pieces, you can really take advantage of them, because now you're not paying, you don't have that risk of the commission, which is one thing. But the other one is that because the online ordering partner takes on a lot of the risk, because they are committed to paying you right away, then that risk of the week later, 3 months or 1 month, or however the model is with the marketplace, goes onto the online solution, and the restaurant has not to worry about that that cycle of payment that comes with withdrawals, penalties, fees, whatever happens in the ecosystem, someone's got to pay for it, right? So then when the online partner, the technology partner, takes on that risk, it's a huge advantage for the restaurant. When they don't, when they're just depending on the third, and let's say a local or one of the other models that have failed, you're in the hook for a lot of money, like what we've seen. If the model doesn't work, or if the company's not the best managed and their growth plan didn't work and they are overcommitted and the cash flow gets compromised, the restaurant is going to be compromised first, because the third model, the marketplace model, user first, driver second, restaurant third. So at the end, the one that ends up
and yeah, the last priority. Yes,
correct. So so as you can see, the new models are coming out. So the market continues to evolve with this new white label delivery, which is a great opportunity for them. It's actually also a great opportunity for the marketplace, because they also mitigate a lot of cash flow and other risks, while they, especially at the driver level, because they can compensate. Then the online order those technology partners like online ordering solutions are supporting, mitigating the situation with drivers, because because the restaurants are still going to be in the marketplace, right? But then the restaurant's going to make a different type of effort, and it's going to which has many benefits. It's their own brand, so that the loyalty gets onto them rather than the third party, and many other things. But most importantly, it's it for the marketplace. Now they've mitigated. They can supply an extra amount of orders to drivers that in the ecosystem maybe not having many orders. Maybe the moments where there's too many drivers at a particular time, or in a particular region, density of population can have a huge effect. Then now they have more opportunity to actually balance that out.
it's like sort of diversifying your portfolio.
Exactly.
Right. Instead of being completely reliant on one revenue source, which is the third party, which is big delivery. When you bring on online ordering, like what Moduurn does, then the bulk of your orders may not necessarily come from your own application. However, it's going to offset a lot of those orders that are coming from third party, right?
Exactly. So the National Restaurant Association has a statistic that which is that 70% of guests would order directly from a restaurant if they offered them the opportunity. Basically, if they had their own online ordering system that they could order from. right? We know that there's a lot of restaurants that have never paid attention to that, and it usually takes them a full year or two until the accountant is like, hey, we have no margins here. It's sad that it takes them so long, but they could mitigate thousands of dollars a month just by diversifying that portfolio, by having this. It may feel that, oh my God, I need to manage something else, but at the end, it's a little effort for amazing results. And at the end of the year, you can actually give that new car to your daughter, go on the nice trip that you wanted. Because as an operator, at the end of the day, you want the business to grow.
Exactly. That additional, revenue source, it may start small, but it can grow, and then you get to control that growth with the amount of effort, if I'm getting you correct, with
Yeah,
the amount of effort and marketing that you put into that program.
I
Whereas with third party, you don't get to necessarily control your exposure within these marketplaces. They are coming in with boosting visibility and putting advertisements within the marketplace, but those commissions only go up, right?
correct.
Those fees and right.
That you hit something very important too, because it's not just the cash flow. That's a very important aspect, but that's another aspect too, is like that part of the control and the user experience and the service that you want to provide, and the commitment of giving great service. It's frustrating when it gets out of your hand, right? When the driver, what if you have someone that is just a new driver, cannot parallel park, and it's 5 minutes, 5 minutes in the ecosystem could cost someone. Like, it could be the driver, it could be the restaurant, but most likely the restaurant. And so someone that cannot parallel drive, and it's taken there for 5 minutes, and that ends up being 15, and then the restaurant is supposedly late with the food, and then like it just can create a whole bunch of things. So is there a control? Is there like a driving for marketplace drivers training? No, there's not. So you see, like, it's just a bunch of different variables that are controlled. So mitigating that is also very important. Now, I was in a show with Cisco Canada today, not as a guest. I was just listening to what they were doing, and I love that they had a guest that it's one of those people that have become positioned as a leader in the industry for a variety of things, especially because they think differently, which I thought it was really awesome to hear.
We love
Exactly.
those types.
And they were talking about it was about budgeting. How do you budget? How do you plan? You have a huge opportunity as it gets colder, because online orders going to the restaurant drops significantly, and you don't want to be like, just like, oh my God, this is the season where no one orders, no one comes to the restaurant, when there is so many other possibilities to mitigate that. So technology and online ordering, I think that at the bottom line, especially as it's evolving, is a huge mitigator and a huge compensator, and a source of new ways of revenue like never before. And as the market evolves, all these possibilities keep growing, and there will be moments and options that may be very risky. There will be other ones that are more stable and that are really good choices to mitigate and compensate the risks on the other one. So like you said, yes, it should be managed like a portfolio. If I want to mitigate risk, I just diversify. I want to have multiple channels. Is what I was telling you, is like, you got to think that there are different sources. It's not only the people that walk through your door. It's also the people that see you as a door in Facebook, Instagram, Google My Business, their website, in the post that you add, in the review that someone makes, in the complaint that someone, or the rave that someone is putting online. And there's always an opportunity. Each of these links, it's a door to your online system. It's a door to your restaurant, but without necessarily having to walk through the door.
And Jose, when you say each of these links, you mean each of these channels in which you're posting a link to your online ordering to your website, correct?
Correct. So if you're gonna post something about it, make it easy for the users. If it's a Facebook post, make it really easy. Make sure that you have the ad to your website, to your online ordering, and right on the post, so they don't have to look for it. So that you send them right away. If you're gonna make them hungry by sharing a beautiful picture of your food, make it easy for them to get to it. Make it easy for them to come for a visit to the restaurant, even if it's not in person, so that they do it online. At the end of it, You want them to enjoy your food. You want them to order more from you, to have a great experience, and for your business to grow, and not be dependent on one single thing that has been what you've done. You gotta diversify that, different channels, like you say. And this is one of the concepts that I was trying to push for in this podcast today, was that like that for mitigating the seasonalities, business doesn't have to stop because the summer's over. The business needs to adapt and find the ways to serve this food. I still crave fish and chips in the winter. I may not go to the wharf, but I'm craving it. So so if you give me the opportunity, and in that cold, I'm like, oh my God, I wish it was summer. I'm thinking, imagine fish and chips of that. Give me the opportunity to order it. I will. So that's just an example, but there are many, many examples of that. A barbecue. I mean, we instead of longing for the summer and that food or whatever experience, how do we make it to give it to them in the times that it's not? Almost like make them feel that they traveled in time into the summer, and just serve them that delicious food that they want from it.
Give them that experience that
They're
as if
craving it.
they were there.
They're craving it. Yes.
Exactly. So I just want to switch gears here a little bit. You know, we've been talking about the delivery conundrum for restaurants who are 100% dependent upon big delivery, seeing 40, 50, 60% of their total orders come from big delivery, where they're the speed and accuracy of the delivery, therefore the quality of the food goes down. That same old story, and then obviously these ginormous huge fees that restaurants are paying. But I want to switch gears a little bit, because the market is changing somewhat, and there's kind of a feel good story down in Iowa. There's a company called Loco, which helps restaurants create their own cheaper delivery network, and they've been able to drive down the effective commission cost to well under 10% to restaurants that are on the platform. And basically how it works is independent contractor drivers can earn as much as $20 an hour, and the company seeks to treat its drivers better than larger delivery providers. The company's name, if I didn't mention it before, is called Loco, Loco, and they're not actually facing a driver crunch. They're actually that there's a waiting list for drivers anxious to join the platform, apparently. I will link this article in the comments section. Grubhub's 2017 purchase of the Order Up delivery platform was a watershed moment for Loco's history, as founder John Sewell explained that reduced the competition in some Iowa markets. He added that restaurants in town had gotten to the point where 40 to 50% of their revenue streams were now going through Grubhub, and they saw their commissions double. So this is not unlike what a whole bunch of restaurants faced in the pandemic. When they went from maybe 30% delivery sales at 30% commission to 70 or 80% of delivery at a 30%. So what John has done is he's gotten a co-op of restaurants within the area, sort of build this delivery network. There are people out there thinking outside the box, that are trying not to be so reliant on big delivery, because things need to change.
No, and there are new solutions that are charging way less, or that are using a similar model to the fixed amount, and driver, you leave on the tip, and you just pay this company that gave you the business, and kind of that's it, right? So there's a myriad of them, and new possibilities popping up all the time. It's all new territory when you think about it. This has only been a few years of experience, and I expect that the market and technology will continue to try all sorts of ways, all sorts of things, and models are going to continue to open up. I think it's important to look for those solutions in general that that are really committed, because when it comes to restaurants, I think they're the most affected. It just makes it difficult to serve properly and to deliver with what they want to do, and most importantly, it makes it really difficult to grow. Um, so when it starts with choosing good partnerships, making sure that that you diversify, and that there is a method to that madness. Funny that I said madness, because I was going to say, that loco means crazy in Spanish. Uh,
That's true.
so so I find it really funny, but I think also it also rhymes sounds with local, which I think it was smart of them to do. Oh,
It's yeah, no, it's a feel good story, and I really like to see that, because I think what's happening within our economy that goes well beyond hospitality is that we are getting much more micro and closer to our neighbors, and walking more, cycling more, and visiting the local, mom and pop shop a lot more out of necessity, right?
mhm.
Out of energy costs and inflation. But we're all having to think outside of the box, and not necessarily letting, big delivery, big corp dictate what we do and how we do necessarily. So that's another podcast.
I think that their business consulting for restaurants is definitely a big opportunity. It's something that could bring a lot of value. I keep seeing, like, especially in the content of, let's say, Cisco's podcast or our podcast or our, in so many ways. And I think that some people are getting into it. I see more and more consultants and marketers kind of focusing on the restaurateurs. And I think that there is an opportunity for learning something new on their side. And the biggest learning with also having consultants and stuff is to learn what about the commitment of their growth, about the commitment on their business, right? Like, as a consultant, when I get hired, I mean, I'm also hired to tell them the 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 things they shouldn't do.
The
And
bad with the good, yeah,
right,
of course.
bad or the good. So it's important to get those lessons as well, and to have someone that really tells them, like, hey, this is really bad, you shouldn't be doing this. And I said, because sometimes I'd like to basically shake them and tell them, like, why are you doing it?
Yeah, I mean, red flags, right? We try and identify those red flags, those things that jump out at us as consultants right off the bat. And it's good to have a fresh pair of eyes on an organization, and also forgive the pun, but the low hanging fruit. Like, what are the easy opportunities? Well, you're missing out on email. And you know how much I harp on that, and restaurants are missing out for the most part on email marketing to drive, increased retention and repeat business, and let their customers know what's going on at the restaurant, what the latest specials are, the features.
One of the things I'm usually curious about when I'm thinking those moments about, like, what myself as a consumer, and I think, oh my god, you know what, that thing was great, I definitely need to order this again, right? And how many times do I do that a week? And how many other people are doing that? I guess every single person that's ever ordered from a restaurant thinks about that meal, that
I'd
dish
love to order that again.
at some
And
point, right? And you have it in your mind that I'm when am I gonna do it? I don't know. Is it now? No. Or is it then? No. Or is it Saturday? No. What about you help them by showing up in their inbox and reinforcing that possibility that they were ordering from you, and be like, huh, maybe the universe is telling me something. I think I know, out of the ones I was thinking of, I'm gonna order from, right? And just that little bit of reminder, it will make all the difference in the world.
marketing food is so much different than traditional e-commerce.
Hmm.
Because of the primal feeling of hunger. It's such a detachment from selling someone a t-shirt. And when you choose the right time to show up in someone's inbox or in their news feed, can convert right then and there. Whereas traditional e-commerce, there are dozens of touch points. The funnel is way longer.
And it's for every kind of cuisine. Like, I'm one of our local merchants recently made me really happy because I got an email that literally I was having a conversation, like thinking like, when am I gonna take myself to a good fine dining experience, right? And I'm thinking like, I'm thinking of this one, I'm thinking of that one, I'm thinking of all the things that the experiences I've had in each of them, and this one when this was celebrated, and this one when I went this with this person, they were with whatever reasons, right? But the fact that they show, and I'm already salivating, the fact that they showed up in my inbox and with a chef there, and with they doing like a special or a sommelier, or I was like right away, it's like, okay, I got it. Next Saturday, this is what we're doing, right? Like right there, booking, boom, I'm going. Amazing, right? So it doesn't matter what type of food is. It doesn't matter what it is. Like if you want to be in your guest's mind, remind them you exist. If you have if you're doing a special of the day, remind them that the special is available. If you are doing a special event, bringing someone or happens to be visiting your friend that is also a chef or a sommelier, like in this case, and you want take advantage of that, let your guests know. They couldn't be happier, prouder of you that you're doing stuff that is cool, and that on top of that, the food of your restaurant is going to be enjoyed with extra bells and whistles and full experience and stuff like that. I mean, like, that is a beautiful thing.
Exactly. And as the months get colder, don't forget to remind them, not only are you there, not only do you have this delicious food, but you also offer delivery. So let them know that you offer delivery. Let them know that this is what's on special. Lots of impressions all of the time. I can tell you one thing: people don't mind seeing food in their news feeds. People do not mind seeing food in their inbox. People do not mind seeing food, period. Like, look at Instagram. What is the second most shared type of image on Instagram all time? It's food.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to share more and show up more in people's news feeds and inboxes. So we're running a little bit long here. This was a super interesting discussion. There's so much nuance to online delivery and moving parts and fluidity to food delivery service, from big delivery to the smaller third-party companies and the delivery drivers themselves. Super insightful. Jose, you've got some real world experience when you were doing deliveries yourself, all the way to building Moduurn that does offer white label delivery integration with restaurants' mobile applications. Thank you so much for shedding some insight on all of these really interesting micro moments within the delivery process. The whole landscape is actually really complex and interesting and moving so fast. I could go on and on and on. Thank you so much. Thanks you, Jose. We miss Alex today. Hopefully he joins us again next week. Thank you to everybody who tuned in to the Restaurant Growth Show podcast. We'll be back again next week. And until then, enjoy your weekend. Get some delivery, get some food, help out the little guy. Have a great weekend, you guys.
Thank you.